Tinongoti mangwanani akanaka mhuri yeZimbabwe. Tochika nari munyowanika rwasubscriber kuti usarasikirwa nenhau news dziri updated. So uchingopressa subscribe button and then you press notification thing. Nhasi guys tava nenyaya yajob skhala. Job skhala. This video is so ritongori full rakadaro rajob skhala. Kunyorwa kwakaita bhuku rajob skhala nemaauthor naeditor wacho wese varipo, kustrugula kwaita zvakawanda guys. So ndisingawedzere pakutaura, tongoti zvinzwire mega.
Going to be the first Media House to review it, and by fulfilling what I have promised you, shows how much brave I am. There is no more bravery more than that. You know, we don't give the empty threats. Some of us, all my life, I'm not a person who give empty threats. I deliver in every word that I speak out. This is also the reason why the regime is so much worried about me, because I'm not a person who is after giving empty threats all over the place and so forth. When I say something, I'll carry it out with all my commitment and dedication. And also the other issue you must also bear in mind, my brother, Blessed, is that I don't agree with the concept of courage, on the basis that courage alone is not enough. It's a commitment for you to pursue what you think is good and the right path for the people. It is not motivated or invited by courage, but it is motivated and encouraged by conviction. When I am convinced that this thing is right, I pursue it without breaks. So it's not about courage, it's about conviction. When I'm convinced that this is the right thing to do, no one can stop me to do it. Yeah. Interested to concentrate on negative vibes. Those are things that I'm not interested in. Read and go through this book. You know, those are sideshows that should not divert me from the major goal of being committed to the cause, which is very important and fundamental. So in terms of concentrating on individuals' names and so forth, it has never been my portion. So I completely avoided the issue of name dropping there, the people who have betrayed me. No, the betrayal, if I try to take stock of how much I've been betrayed since my birth up to my age of 52 years today, I would need to write the second book titled The Great Betrayal with the same title of Ian Smith. So when you my mindset and my own philosophy and ideology is that I don't have anything to do with the negative vibes or negative energy or negative things that has happened to in my life all the way in the past 52 years. I concentrate more on positives, and the positives that will be able to advance not only the causes of my person, but of the society, community, and the country at large. So I don't waste my time. Even those people who betrayed me or who could have betrayed me, I don't have even the time to think about them. The horizons of my mind are so bigger than that. The author is here, the editor is here. So some of those questions, this product which we are having today, this one, is not as a result of narratives from me. It was out of a thorough research, which this team has carried out for a quite substantial amount of time for them to be able to bring this. So whatever they could have brought and then put it into this book that is before us today is not the product which you could do, you could apportion to me, but it was a meticulous and thorough research which the compilers of this very important book have done. So you cannot ask me put them to be in agreement with it or not. So the most important thing is that it's for all of you who are very enthusiastic to go through via the book, for you to praise themselves without trying to force them to give the answer that you want to hear. The truth of the matter is, as I have told you, this is a product of a meticulous research carried out by this team. And they have come to their own conclusions. Whether I agree to it or not, is not of any particular subject. It will be also up to you when you read this book, whether you'll agree with it or not. People's opinions differ. So you cannot ask me about an opinion, whether you agree with it or it's now opinionated. You are trying to seek my opinion, which I want all of the people to come out with their own opinions and not try to force down upon me to say, do you agree with it or not? Yes or no? No. You can't extract the people's opinions that way. That will be completely unprofessional, completely out of sync with the way how we want the democratic society to function. So let the people have their own opinions after having gone through the book. So my opinion, it doesn't matter because it's an opinion. Do you understand what I'm saying?
The research was, I did the research as the author and the compiler of the information, but guess what, Darabi? History provides us with facts that we can't. Once a deed has been done, it has been done, and history will record that deed, whether it was positive, whether it was negative. But when you talk about betrayal in Job Skhala's biography, when I write about biography, what I've seen as I was researching about him, remember, I did not only interview him, I also researched from other people around him, from a lot of responding to that one, Darabi. One thing that Honorable Skhala will always do, when you are researching, there are some limitations, right? There is some information that you get, and there is some information that you will not get. When I was interviewing him, there is some information which he did not divulge to me because of his character. He doesn't want to soil people's names. He has never soiled any person's name in his book. But this is what I discovered also. Because when you look, remember, I want to draw your attention, because when he was incarcerated, some of us were alive. Some of us would attend his court sessions. There were moments when courts were filled to the brim, right? And there were moments when you and I, we also met and we were also discussing about these other things some time back. When we're saying, how come Job Skhala's courts now, are almost half empty or half full? We were discussing, we said, it just depends, is it half full or half empty? But courts that used to be filled to the brim were now courts that had just become like village courts, whereby 3 or 7 people would attend. And remember, this is Job Skhala that we're talking about. A man who has been visible and audible, and a man who has been strong, and a man who has been a pillar of strength since the beginning, the formative years of the formidable force which is called the MDC in 1999. Before that, we talk about the ZINASU, the formation of ZINASU, 1997. Job Skhala has been visible in Zimbabwe. We can't talk about opposition politics in Zimbabwe without mentioning his name, right? We can't talk about the formation of the National Constitutional Assembly without mentioning his name. We can't talk, even today, we can't talk about the formation of the CCC, which is, when the CCC was formed in this book, you will see that Job Skhala is actually the man who chaired the meeting that oversaw the transition from the MDC alliance to the Triple C, and we are now seeing a court that is half empty. Then we begin to question as researchers, how come the courts are now half empty or half full when it comes to job scholar, a man who has stood on public public platforms. And I want to I will use another statement which happened, which Changirai uttered in 2000. And what we would want to tell Robert Mugabe today, is that please go peacefully. If you don't want to go peacefully, we'll remove you violently. It's a statement that people ascribe to Changirai. But those that are in the opposition framework, strongholds, know that it actually came from Job Scholar. They have confirmed and affirmed this statement to be true. And they have said Changirai actually uttered word for word the statements that he had been given by Job Scholar. And they know.
So Job Scholar said
those that are in the opposition formations, they know that these were Job Scholar's words. And now we see in a court, these are not opinions, these are facts. In a court of law, Job Scholar has been arrested on politically trumped up charges, and the court is half empty. What will you say if most of the research, based on the facts, that Job Scholar had been betrayed? How come the court, those who had been with him from the formative years of the MDC, those who were out when Job was in, they were supposed to do something. You and me, Dara, if we believe in the story of the courts, you and I, Job Scholar was not only betrayed by just a few. He was betrayed by you and me, who are people of influence, who could have influenced people to go and fill up the courts if we really believed in democracy. Those that purport to believe in democracy should have filled up Job Scholar's courts, so they betrayed him at his point of
Ngomos, the Mugabes, the Samora Machels, the Dedan Kimatis, and so forth. But these characters created a cult around them. They created people that supported their movement, right? In other words, it's not just about Dedan Kimati. It's not just about Castro. It's not about Che. He had a team with him who shared the principles and the conviction that was driving characters like Job. So I'm saying there that imagine if we had just 100,000 people like Skhala in this country. We have the same conviction, the same humility, the same courage, the same eccentricism. I say eccentric in the positive aspect, and the same selflessness. Where would the movement be? Where would it be? Because once characters like him are exposed, they are out there, the rest of us step back and say, we think about our families, we think about our children, we think about everything else. So why is it that in a country that is under so much stress, we can only count a few brave individuals? And this is what weakens the movement, in whatever way you look at it. So had it been possible, even if you look at the liberation struggle as it is, you talked about it a bit, from 1963 to whatever. It had so many people. You can't even stop thinking about the number of characters that were involved in this country's liberation. The Stidin Malungas, the Parerenya. You can't even. You need almost 15 minutes just to be counting on your hands. The Tongo Garazen, and all these guys shared the same character of conviction, bravery, selflessness, and all that. But these days, this generation here we're talking about here, we're only counting a few people. And there's no movement that can succeed with so few people because they're exposed. It's trying to do, like, for instance, political activism in the rural areas. You're probably alone. You are a sitting duck, Darabi. So if this country had more people like him, which pillars he wants to avoid. But when he gave me this product, I was saying to myself, no, wait a minute. I was not involved in the research of the nitty-gritty. But I certainly know a bit about Job Scholar because of my encounters with him in the previous years. So sometimes I would say to Munya, can you double check this thing here? There's a name that is not appearing in this thing here. And you would say to me, Amdara, that is the way that I would want that place, that thing to be portrayed. But on the kitchen cabinet, I kind of like put my foot down. I said to Munya and Job, guys, it's not sufficient, because the kitchen cabinet story is very crucial in the transition of this movement from being a true opposition to being lethargic and weak as it is. If you understand the history of MDC, you will know that the kitchen cabinet thing is very, very critical. So it needed a label more than the kitchen cabinet. But I am neither the author nor the character. And it's not my book, right? But I insisted, I actually picked up the phone. I said, Honorable Skhala, I respect you. Munya, I like you as an author. But I am not happy to use a pronoun when there's a proper noun. Can you give me the names of the kitchen cabinet? We put them down, and then we see what it sounds like when it's in black and white. And Job said to me, no. I do not want to put in. There are some people, individuals of the cabinet that have departed from this planet, and they won't be able to defend themselves. So you see what I mean? So my editorial, finesse was limited by the mere moral belief that when a man says, I don't want this thing to be mentioned, it is only good for you to respect his wishes.